Michael, thank you so much for making time today. We are really looking forward to having you here in North Texas. And I'm wondering, have you spent much time in North Texas previously?
Yeah, I've been all over Texas, and I have a great time. I remember when I first moved from Orlando, Florida to Las Vegas, I drove across Texas, and that was a lot of Texas, but it was great. And I've played in Dallas many times, Fort Worth. I've also played in South Texas. Yeah, I've had a great time there.
So, did you take I-10 from Florida over? Do you
I
remember?
think I think so. It was quite a few years ago, but
Yeah.
I remember I spent a lot of time in Texas, but I enjoyed it.
There's a famous, the reason I asked is like on I-10, once you get into Texas, there's a famous road sign that says Beaumont, like 30 miles, which is like, on one end of Texas, it says El Paso 800 and something.
I think I did see that. I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, we're excited to have you up in Plano with the Plano Symphony coming up this weekend. What can we expect in terms of the musical selections? Obviously, Billy Joel, but is there going to be rep that's from all eras, some old, some new, some of the deep tracks as well?
Yeah, kind of all of that. We play, I mean, obviously we're going to play Piano Man, right? I think if we didn't, people would be coming for me after the show.
Yeah.
uh, songs like a lot of people would consider even a song like Scenes from an Italian Restaurant a deep track, even though it's
Mm,
one of the biggest songs he does live. Some people call it Bottle of Red. They're like, I love that Bottle of Red song. They don't know the real name. So we do songs like that. We do songs like Angry Young Man, where his hands are flying real fast on the piano. And then of course there's Uptown Girl and there's River of Dreams. So we kind of do span, I do She's Got Away, which is from his very first album. So
yeah.
honestly, yeah, we're kind of spanning a long career there, but he has so many amazing songs that we kind of wanted to
Yeah.
hit all the areas as best we could.
Talk about some of the unique challenges or any adjustments that you need to make when you give a performance with a full symphony orchestra behind you, as opposed to like your standard rock backline.
Well, yeah, I mean the symphony is very powerful, right? Which is amazing. I remember the first time we played with a symphony, and this was back in like 2008. And we got there, and we're just cranking the way we always do. And the, this was at rehearsal. Fortunately, the first time we played with a symphony, we had a full week of rehearsal just to adapt because it was a new world for us. So we were kind of balls to the walls, and it was a little too much. And we learned how to dial it back as far as volume, but not as far as energy. That
Mhm.
to me, those are very different things. You don't have to be loud to have energy.
Right.
And we really learned to incorporate the symphony in a way that they are not a backup orchestra. It is equal back and forth, and it's very dynamic, very dynamic. So we've learned over the past, well, I guess it's been 17 years now, how to really do that, and it's an amazing thing. It still blows me away.
Do you bring in some of your own band members, like drummer, guitarist, all
Yeah.
of that? How many folks do you
Mhm.
bring in?
I bring in five guys. So I have a synth player, although the synth player's job is very different. If we're playing without an orchestra, he's covering all the string parts. Obviously, not going to do that when we have an orchestra, and nor would he want to. But Billy Joel has some synthesizer parts that are pretty important. Plus, the vocals. I have the guys in my band sing incredible. I mean, there's not a lot of rock and roll bands that can do an a cappella song like for the longest time, but we can do it and it's great.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I have a synth player, guitar player, bass player, drummer, saxophone. Saxophone's very important in Billy Joel music, and my guys are incredible. I mean, they've toured with very, very, very big household names. Some of them have played with Billy Joel. My sax player tours with Diana Ross, and the list goes on and on. They're incredible.
Yeah, yeah. Why do you think that Billy Joel's music just translates so well to a symphonic setting?
Well, I mean, a lot of the songs you hear it on the record. A song like "Scenes from an Italian Restaurant" or a song like "New York State of Mind," it's kind of built in. What's really
Mhm.
fun is when we put it in a song like "You May Be Right," which is pretty much a straight ahead rock and roll song. I mean, Billy
Yeah.
was thinking, he was thinking Rolling Stones when he wrote that song. And it still works so well. And I think it's because Billy is just, he's so musical. I mean, he has classical roots that you'll hear it even in his rock and roll songs. You know, his chord changes are not, as much as I love the Rolling Stones, Billy Joel's chord changes are a lot more complex than the Rolling Stones or some of my other rock and roll musical heroes, whether it's Bryan Adams or whether it's even the Eagles. As much as I love the Eagles,
Right.
Billy
Yeah.
Billy is very complex and it works very well with an orchestra. Billy's music is very eclectic, a lot of different styles, and
Yeah.
that's why he's the legend he is today.
He is. Yeah. And I'll bring up the doc a little bit
Yeah.
later on, but I remember when he was talking about how he like fell in love again with classical as he was
Hmm.
later in life, but
Yeah.
it was almost like that was his first love. And he's always had that that it's the classical heart, I feel like,
Hmm.
that comes through in his writing for sure. Uh,
Yeah. Go ahead.
no. I was just gonna move on to the next question, but finish your
Sure.
thought.
I was going to say, when I first met him, when we were first launching Moving Out on Broadway, that's when he was just releasing Fantasies and Delusions, his classical album, which some of that was in the show Moving Out. And I think I might know what your next question is, so I'll let you go forward.
Well, we see a lot of symphony orchestras today, during pop series, they bring in a lot of these like rock or country inspired acts or movies and theater and things like that. So, talk about how you could see this as an entry point for some people who normally wouldn't go to a symphony concert, but here they are.
It's great for that. And as a matter of fact, I will mention that we are incorporating a couple of his classical pieces in the show, which were written for piano, but we had orchestrated for the full orchestra, and they're amazing. And it's great just for people to see that side of Billy Joel. Now, as far as bringing in a new audience that might not normally go to see an orchestra, it's really perfect for this because, like I said before, we're rocking out like a Billy Joel band would rock out, and at the same time, we're fully showing off the orchestra. And when the marriage of these two different worlds come together, it's the perfect way to bring in a Billy Joel fan, if it's for this show in particular, and then they realize just how amazing it is to see a live orchestra and to see real woodwinds and to see real timpani and of course the strings. It's I think it opens their eyes. It really does.
Yeah, and to see the interaction with the conductor and the musicians too.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that to see that eye contact and that communication
Hmm.
as well. Um, Give us the elevator speech as far as your musical career, your story. Born in the city of rock and roll, the home of rock and roll. Maybe it was in your DNA to begin with, something in the water there. But then, landing in Vegas and then being handpicked by Billy Joel himself. So give us a little insight, a little elevator speech about your career.
Okay, so yeah, I grew up in the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, and this is a Cleveland Guardians hat, so I wore it backwards, because we probably have some Rangers fans here. But so yeah, I started playing the piano when I was 7. Sorry, I got a little frog in my throat. I'm not bringing that frog to Texas, don't
Don't.
worry. I'm just dry. I live in the desert.
I know. Yeah,
But
it's not that dry here. Yeah.
I'll take a sip of water. But
Okay, I will too while you're doing that.
yeah, so I grew up in Ohio, and my parents bought a piano when I was 7, and immediately I attacked the thing. By the time I was like 10 years old, I put a little band together, and we played in the school talent show, and the girls screamed, and I never heard the girls scream for me before, so I knew I was onto something. By the time I was a young teenager, I was performing in nightclubs multiple nights per week, uh, 4 or 5 nights a week. It was crazy. So I moved to Orlando after I got married, played in dueling piano bars for a while, really taught me how to work an audience. Went to Las Vegas to do the same thing, just a better job. Billy Joel had been a musical hero of mine since I was a little kid. I used to camp out in the snow to get tickets to his shows. To make a long story short, Billy Joel's tour manager happened to be in Las Vegas. He saw me. He really liked me. A couple months later, Billy was in town. He brought Billy to hear me in the piano bar, and I nearly had a heart attack. And it was, not only did we get along great, not only did he like me, but that first night I met him, he was on the piano across from me, dueling pianos right up against each other. And we were jamming together that first night. I was like, you can kill me now.
The people in that crowd probably are still to this day telling the story about that.
No question. No question. I mean, it was insane. Billy was coming to town for a concert that week, but he was in town a few days early because he played the night before in Phoenix. So they just came in early. So I knew I had a chance at shaking Billy Joel's hand that week, and that would have been just incredible for me. But I didn't know Max. Max is his tour manager. I didn't know Max was going to bring him to the piano bar. So that was, I had about 15 minutes notice on that. It was crazy.
What kind of pressure is that all of a sudden? I mean, you never prepare for that moment.
Right. Well, I felt like I was preparing my whole life for it.
Did adrenaline just take over?
Yes. Yes. It was all adrenaline. But like I said, I felt like I was preparing my whole life for it. You know, you never know when your moment's going to come. And so, yes, adrenaline. So I was probably singing even higher notes than I normally would. And I was definitely playing probably a little faster. But Billy loved it. He was great. He wanted me to play. Because it's, you know, if you've ever been to a dueling piano bar before, everyone makes requests. So we requested some Jerry Lee Lewis. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to ham this up. So I was on top of the piano, you know.
Like the heel on the keyboard and stuff
all of it. All of it. And Billy loved it. He was like this. And that was before he got up and played. Max comes up to me and says, do you want Billy to sit in? I'm like, yes. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing.
Yeah. So you touched on this. I mean, because I read that you were born in 72, and that's the year that I guess was his first single came out. That was kind of like when he first started, I think, getting a lot of or more of some radio play also. So yeah. I thought that was a kind of cool parallel that, you know, the year of your birth and kind of like the year of his, that he was starting to launch off as well. And, you know, who would have thought, I'm sure that when you were young that, and I hate to use the word surreal because it's used all the time, but that's the word that's coming to mind when
okay.
you're waiting in line when you're young to buy tickets for his shows, and here you are looking across the piano at him.
Oh yeah, camped in the snow, 17 degrees. I remember the wind chill was like 2, and all of us Billy Joel fans were playing football in the parking lot at 4 a.m. just to try to stay alive. And then we're all dancing around to Billy Joel songs. We all have ski masks on. We were all best friends, and we would never recognize each other because we all had ski masks on. But we were all best friends that night. Yeah.
So back to the documentary. Obviously, you've seen it.
Yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I loved it. You know, as much as I've gotten to know Billy over the years and as many stories as he's told me. I mean, he took me I remember when he bought one of his very beautiful homes on Long Island. It was during the Movin Out run. And he said, hey, I think I'm going to buy this house, but I'm going to go look at it. You want to come with me? I'm like, yes, I do. And he brought me, and we're driving around, and we're in the back of the limo. And he tells the limo driver, he's like, hey, stop. And he said, look at that. You see that ground level apartment right there? That's where I wrote Captain Jack. And I'm like, holy smokes. Like this is actually happening right now. So as much time as I spend with him, I still learned a lot more. I learned a lot more from that documentary. And even his daughter, Alexa, she wrote on Instagram that I learned things about my dad that I didn't know. So I thought it was incredible. I chuckle at some of the early days when he was in that Attila band and he was trying to be, you know, Led Zeppelin and stuff.
Yeah.
I love the documentary. I'm sure I'll watch it again, but I was glued to it.
Yeah, so was I. He seems, I'm sure everyone says he just seems like such a genuine guy. And it really did feel like so intimate. Obviously, I've seen interviews with him, everyone has, but it was just such a more like kind of intimate look at him.
Yeah.
It felt so much more personal.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really well done. And then now for the question that I'm sure you never get asked, which is, do you have any favorite Billy Joel songs? And you
Well,
probably can't pick one, but you could
it's
narrow it
impossible.
down to like 3 to 5. Or
It's impossible. I will say sometimes it's how I'm feeling that day. If I'm feeling edgy, kind of like Big Shot, I mean, kind of, I love it, but certain songs, honesty, huge to me. I will say the song I come back to the most and I've done it thousands and thousands of times. I did it 1,000 times on Broadway. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, to me, it's pretty tough to beat. It was several, at least 3 different songs. Billy put it together. I remember one time I was doing a corporate gig with Liberty DeVito. It was Billy's whole band. This was back in the early Moving Out days. And Billy told me, I'm sorry, Liberty told me how some of these songs got put together and how Liberty was in the room and they were saying, yeah, remember that idea you had for that one? Why don't you try putting it there? So there are so many. And if you ask me on a different day, I might even come up with even more songs because
oh yeah.
it's been such a big impact on me. But every time I'm playing Scenes from an Italian Restaurant on stage, I'm never thinking like, oh, this one again. Never. Like I still love it. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. And are you interacting with the crowd during the performance? Like you're
Very much.
telling personal stories and
Oh yeah, very much. I feel like you could take the boy out of the piano bar, but you can't take the piano bar out of the boy, So I really cut my teeth. Even though I played in bands when I was younger, I was kind of more of a synthesizer guy back in the 80s. But when I became this piano bar guy, I really learned how to communicate. I'm always telling stories. I'm always back and forth. I'm always trying to get the audience to participate, even
yeah.
with a symphony, which is kind of different for that world. But we've been doing it a long time, and it's been great.
Yeah, it's fun for the symphony crowd to let their hair down a little bit.
Yeah.
Now the going back, the question I didn't think of until now is, with the piano bar experience and a gigging musician in your early years, but then having to transition to Broadway, was
Mhm.
that an easy transition?
It that was the hardest gig I will ever do, and it was amazing, and it changed my life. It was a big transition. I mean, I was performing. I mean, let's face it, I was performing for a lot of drunk people. You know, that's why so many bar bands say the more you drink, the better we sound. It's very different on Broadway as far as now. Now, when I say that I was performing in a bar, the musical integrity always really mattered to me, and maybe that helped me graduate from playing in those situations, because when you play a piano bar in Vegas, it's like Animal House. It's crazy. It's Animal House with pianos. Uh, so I always wanted that. I always craved the attention to detail, and I certainly got that when I met the Moving Out band guys. I remember that we got in the room for the first time together. We had never met each other. Some of them were Billy's guys. Um, couldn't get all Billy's guys just because Billy was still touring and there was a lot going on. But the level of detail from the first note, I remember the first song we tried to play together. Tommy Burns, Billy's longtime guitar player, says, "Hey, so you learned Angry Young Man?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, let's start with that." And it was like we've been playing together for 10 years, and we all looked at each other like, "Wow!" All of us did. And Twyla Tharp was there, and she was the director and she was the choreographer. It was really her brainchild, the show, and she was so dialed in. And she's not a musician, but she's a creative genius for sure. And from that first day of rehearsal, I knew the level of just the level of intensity, the level of every single note, everything mattering, every word coming out of my mouth. Uh, it really mattered. So it was a big change, but it changed me for the better for sure, and it
Yeah,
certainly prepared me to perform with orchestras.
yeah. I mean, you're flexing muscles you'd never flexed before, I'm
That's
sure.
right. That's right.
Yeah. Now, do you ever make it back to Ohio? Do you still have family there?
I do. My brother and a couple of his kids. Some of his kids are in college, but they live in Berea, which is where the Browns training facility is. I'm a Browns fan. It hurts so bad. It's so painful, but I can't shake them. My aunt is still there, but a lot of us have moved out west. I've moved my parents out west. My in-laws are out west. I've shoveled a lot of driveways in my day, and I've
Oh yeah.
I'm ready to say I've lived in the snow, but I've had enough. Yeah.
Well, my significant other, who is a keyboardist slash MNB3 organist,
Cool.
grew up in the Canton, Akron area.
My
And
drummer's from Canton.
who was from Canton?
My drummer.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Well, they may have some mutual friends, but we went up there. We did the Cleveland, we did Northeast Ohio and Amish country and all of that. And
Yeah.
I had never really spent much time up there, and I'm like, I love it up here. It was summer, and it was just gorgeous
Beautiful.
and
It is beautiful.
green, and yeah, it was just like maybe someday we could move up here. He's like, no.
He's done it. I've done it.
He's like, you've grown up in Texas your whole life. You've never had to shovel snow, and you're not gonna like the winters. I promise.
That's exactly right. The summers are great and the people are so nice. Amish country is beautiful and the food is incredible there. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of my band, a couple of my guys are also from Ohio, and my bass player and I, it'll be 115 degrees here in Vegas, and people will be like, "Man, our friends of ours from home, how do you deal with that?" And one thing we love to say is, "You don't have to shovel heat."
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, is there anything I have not asked you yet that you would like our listeners and your fans to know about this concert?
I mean, I think you asked great questions. I'll just add that, it might be a new experience, but even though it's a new experience hearing a symphony orchestra, nothing's going to be missing from the songs you love. You're going to hear everything that you're used to hearing in the songs you love, plus this incredible orchestra. It's like taking these classic songs and putting them on steroids. And I'm excited for people to experience it, especially for the first time. It's really great.
Great. Can't wait to see it. I'll be there. So
Awesome. Well, don't be afraid to say hello.
okay. Yeah, I'll be one of the people. If you're like interacting with the audience, I might be the loudest person there.
Perfect. I'll be
Yeah.
looking for you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
safe travels up here to North Texas soon.
Awesome. See you soon.